Hello fellow modelers and styling fanatics, welcome back to my channel. I hope that everyone is doing fine and enjoys the hobby. Concrete Bunker is back again today with another one of its notorious episodes. Now, on today's episode we will proceed with our Peiper's body build project. Now for the guys that encountered this video for the first time, or my videos for the first time, I couldn't stress enough the fact that you should search my playlists for the Peiper's group build so you know what we are talking about, mainly because there is a long story behind this body build and this project in general that I don't wanna talk about once again right now. Anyway, for the guys that are familiar with this video series, you know that this is part 2 of our protagonist build, which is none other than the Panther Ausf.G. Yes, the Panther Ausf.G, a hybrid Panther from Academy in 1/35th scale and kit number 13, let me check, 529. Now on this episode I don't do a lot of stuff, but I still do some progress. I assembled the rear armor plate of the vehicle, the majority of the rear armor plate, mainly because I need to damage some stuff and I didn't do it on this episode, and I start the assembly on the upper hull. What are my notes up to this point for the kit? Kit is good. It has some minor fit issues that I spot on right now, and it also has a huge inaccuracy in the tracks that I may address it in the future. I am not so sure. I am going to do some experiments with the tracks, and if I can, address that issue in the future, I will do that. If not, the tracks will remain as they are. Now, I don't want to bore you any further because I discuss those stuff in the course of my video, so I won't keep you long. You guys all know the drill. Grab yourselves a seat, make yourselves comfortable, crack the mandatory cold one or a hot brew, depending where you are in the world and what time it is right now, and let's see what me and Past George have prepared for you guys in this episode. Hi guys, welcome back to part 2 of our Peiper's group build. As you can see in front of you, I have the Panther exactly as it was in the previous episode. I have done nothing onto it. I wanna talk about something first. I wanna talk about the first inaccuracy of the Academy kit. As you know, guys, I am not so familiar with tanks in general. My previous hobby was cars, and I am more familiar with cars. Anyway, I learn as I go. Quite a couple of days ago, I watched Michael's video. He made a build review of this kit, and he pointed out one of its mistakes straight out of the box. This mistake is none other than let me grab a pointer, than these things, the track teeth. I don't remember their name, but they had to be hollow. These ones are solid. So that's the first inaccuracy of the kit. In every Panther, the track tooth were hollow in order for the tracks to be more lightweight. These were lightning holes. As Michael stated, he has more knowledge than me, so I trust him. Okay, I trust him also mainly because he does even more research than me. But anyway, so now you're gonna tell me, are you gonna teach these tracks? Of course, and I'm not gonna teach these tracks mainly because I don't have the bucks, the euro, the money to spend on an aftermarket track set, and I have done all the effort to put them together, so I am gonna keep them as they are. I maybe try to hollow them out myself, drill some holes with my pin vise. Sorry guys, drill some holes with my pin vise, but drill some holes with my pin vise. Sorry, but I am not sure yet. This is too much of a hassle. I am not sure if I am gonna do it. So I'm just stating the problem for the guys that built this kit. Keep in mind that you have to invest in a proper track set. If you are, big in accuracy, if you are not so such a fan of accuracy, that's okay. The rest of the tracks are okay. The size, the thread pattern is okay. The only problem is that their guide teeth, that's how these things are called. Guide teeth are not hollow. So that's the first thing that I'm gonna state. Now, where we have left from, where did we left our build in part 1? In part 1 we have completed step number 5, the attachment of the tracks, and we were moving to step number 6. Step number 6 is none other than the assembly of the rear armor plate, and here we have many options. Options for version 1 up to version number 6, and of course different versions, different parts. Now we are building version 1 mainly because our Panther is a hybrid Panther. It has parts from early Panthers, parts from late Panthers, etc., etc. So our tank is something like a jigsaw puzzle. I'm gonna call it hybrid. So our tank is hybrid. What do we need though? We need to, in this case, only use version number 1, which means that if we go back to up before step number 1, over here we have a legend that says, before starting assembling of the tanks, make holes on the underside of the parts at locations indicated by that black dot. Okay, for version number 1 we need to drill 2 holes, one over here and one over here. Also we need to drill another hole that this kit doesn't state, and that other hole is for the upper connection point, not the upper connection point, for the upper latch of that holds the jack, which is over here. This one is not stated over here at the instructions, but I know that. So I have the rear armor plate ready, and I am gonna drill some holes. So we need to drill a hole over here, work it. One hole is down, another 2 to go. The other one needs to be over here. Now I know I have a Dremel and I could do that with a Dremel, but it's too late at night over here and I don't wanna, do any noise. My kids are sleeping on the other room, and my wife is gonna kill me. So I'm not taking any chances. And the third hole is over here. Now guys, if you hear some random noise around, is because I adopted a new cat. He is a male, 3 months old, and he now starts to, getting familiar with the house. So he's gonna do a lot of stupid stuff, and you're gonna hear it, of course, in the video. I'm really sorry about that, guys. So we have our 3 holes that we need ready. Now, what else does step number 6 indicates? Let me show you. Over here it says start assembly with number 1, which is this one. So D29 parts are for version number 6, so we don't need them. Let me grab a pencil just to clear some parts of the way, to help you understand. Okay, so this one we don't need, this one we don't need. We only need F10 and A14. So those are the 2 parts I have laying around my bench. So part A14 is this one, this thing, C-shaped thing. We need to feed that through here. So the opposite side of the panel. Let's apply some glue. And let's also attach the bracket that holds the jack in place, which, as I've said, is nowhere indicated in the instructions, so keep in mind. I think that it is supposed to be there for every Panther late or early versions. Jack should be there. And that's it for the first step of the instructions. Now, on to the second step. We have the various types of our exhaust system. Depends which Panther you're building, you're gonna go with the according exhaust. In my case, this is the exhaust that we're looking for. This is the exhaust shrouds, the square ones that Panther 131 had, and this is the exact exhaust pipe that Panther had as well. So these are not used, I don't need to use them, so we're gonna go with this one. Let me clean the parts and I am going to be back. Okay guys, we are ready for the second part of step number 6 of the instructions, and looks like I have done a mistake, but I am justified. Before in the previous clip I told you that you just need to drill 3 holes, 1, 2 and 3 over here. 1, 2 and 3 over here. Looks like you need to drill all the holes that the step before the part before step number 1 states, but I was mixed for a good reason. Look at that. Over here says version number 1 and shows these 2, but in order for us to attach the exhaust shrouds, over here you see me holding one, we need to drill those 2 things over here, those 4 holes over here. So I am kinda justified. Academy pulled the rug out out of my of my feet over there. So exhaust assembly, our choice was the square shrouds over here and those pipes, and you know, I've talked about it a little bit earlier. What do we need to do in order to assemble the exhaust and attach it to our armor plate? So if you flip this, there is a square indentation over there that corresponds with the square indentation that our exhaust pipe has at its base. Simple as that. You just meet the two squares, you know. So one would go over here, and let's leave it aside to set a little bit, and the other one will go over here. Now, when you have them ready, those are supposed to go one on each side, one over here, and one on the other side. You know, the holes that are these intended to go are this one and that one. Let me grab the tweezers so you guys can have a better look, so my fingers won't be on the way. Hopefully one there. Now what else we need to do? We need to get this little triangle which has a light and attach it, let me remember, onto the right side over here, exactly where the exhaust shroud is located. Let me zoom in a bit. Come on. Yep. Over here. Hopefully I can do it on camera. Come on, darling. Yep. Exactly on spot, I think. Let me toy a little bit with the placement. I just want to be sure. This is going to be on video format for an eternity after all. There. And we have this thing, this light that has a pin that corresponds over here, I suppose, and the square indentation that corresponds on the other square indentation of the other exhaust shroud, if that made sense. I wish I was a native English speaker. I could explain so I could explain you guys even better. I don't know if my English makes sense sometimes. the corresponding hole needed some persuasion. Come on. Okay. Now that you have those two in place, the only part left is the actual exhaust shrouds that they are going to be placed on top of the exhaust pipes. If I can place them correctly, there is one. Press fit it. Okay. Looks like I will need to clamp it a little bit. And the other one to clamp it for a little bit, I should say. Oh, come on. There. And there we have it. Second part of step number 6 of the instructions is ready, if I am not mistaken, and I am not. So let's leave this aside, zoom out a little bit, grab the instructions, and now we need to move to part number 3 of step number 6 of the instructions. Over here we have the toolboxes and the jack itself. Now, of course, and I am not going to assemble the jack because it is going to be a part that I am going to paint separately. And about the toolboxes now, I think that one of them, the right side one, needs to be damaged. I am going to consult my reference photos and I am going to be back. So guys, before I attach the two toolboxes over here at our rear armor plate, I will need to state a few things. Now, first and foremost, the way you attach them, they have two knobs over here, the part that correspond in those two holes. On the right one, which is the one I will need to damage, everything is fine. As you can see, it sits almost flush, and that's it, you know, end of story. But on the left one, we have the same thing, but over here we have a square that it is obviously protruding more than this one. And if you try to attach the toolbox, here is what happens. You have a huge gap. Now, that means that for some reason I will need to take care of that. For some reason there is a mistake over here, and I will need to take care of it. What I'm gonna do, of course, is to remove the whole thing with my sprue cutters, of course, and I will also sand it flush, or as flush as I can, and this must do the deed, you know, must help us to conform the toolbox in its respective position. Let me check. Yes, with a little bit more sanding we must be correct. Now it also hits to that thing over here, this thingy. But anyway, we're gonna see about that if I am going to remove that detail. Now I have a photo, I'm gonna flash it somewhere in the screen, that depicts the damage that the toolbox have sustained. On the right one, I will need to do some bullet holes, and I will also need to create a bend over here, some kind of a bend, which means that I will have to take those two parts to outside, to my garage, whip out my Dremel and remove enough material so I can thin the whole thing to make it easier for me to do some damage, If the plastic is thinner, it will be easier for me to depict both the bullet holes and the dent. On the other side, I will need to mount the toolbox at an angle like that, mainly because that's the way it is depicted on the photos. Now I am going to leave the toolbox off for a moment until I will take care of the damage, but I am going to attach some more stuff needed to go over here at the rear armor plate. These stuff are these three pieces, which I think that they are for towing purposes, but tank guys that have further knowledge from tanks may be able to enlighten us for what exactly they are used at. So it is one over here, and the other one will go on the exact opposite direction. As you can see, it has a square indentation that corresponds to that square gap over there, like so. Damn, my dog is thirsty. That's all the noise you hear. Now we need to fit that thing through the holes, but the glue isn't set yet, and I cannot, I cannot force it. Let me try again. Let me grab another pair of tweezers. Let me grab the curved ones, and let's, as I said, try again. No, denied. Once again, come on. No, denied again. Okay, you get the drill over here. I just need to insert this pin between those two holes over here from the parts that I have attached, and with that and the toolboxes, our rear armor plate should be done. But as I've said, I am going to keep the toolboxes aside so I can do the damage that I need to do in order to attach them. So let's move the parts aside and let's consult our instructions. So supposedly, quote unquote, right now I have completed step number 6, and I'm saying supposedly mainly because I have left the toolboxes and some other stuff like jack and this little plate that secures the jack off. Now we need to move on to step number 7, and over here we are starting our work onto the upper hole. So straight out of the bat, what are we going to leave aside? Of course I'm going to leave aside every tool until the very end. We are going to leave aside the jack block as expected, B27, B25, I suppose that it is the tool rack. Okay, we are gonna leave aside the tracks as well. So we are only going to attach the tool racks and the side skirt over here, which needs to also have these little things attached. These little things are the hooks that the side armor plates get attached to, you know, the Strutzen, if I pronounced them correctly. Okay guys, I jumped a little bit ahead. I have attached off camera the side skirt, as you can see. I know it doesn't look straight, but it is there. I mean, it is on every location point. I have test fitted parts and it looks, to me at least, to be in place, even though if it doesn't look straight, it does a curve over here where my tweezers are, but there's nothing for me that I can do except if I could straighten it myself with the use of a ruler. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it as it is, and I am going to decide for its fate after this clip. Anyway, the instructions stated that you should place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tiny pieces onto the side skirt, and then the side skirt onto the upper hole, of course. And the side skirt has 2 location points. Over here is one and over here is the other one, and the rest of the location points are onto the tiny things, the 6 tiny things we attached. And then you go and glue it as you move forward. You glue it one step at a time, partially. That was the word that I was looking for. So now we need to glue one part over here, which is none other than this one, which is the wire, the towing wire holder, and we need to also glue this part over here, which is none other than the tools rack, of course. And behind the tools rack, let me see if I can show you, there are some location points that help it fall in place, as you can see. So you won't be able to screw it up. And the same goes for this puppy over here. Let me double check. Okay, it has to go like so. I am going to struggle a little bit with the positioning of the side skirt. I really don't like the look of it right now. Now you're gonna tell me why fight with this side skirt since the tank is going to depict it as a destroyed vehicle, because why not? And oh my god, there is something obstructing the placement of that part, and there is none other than some excess plastic. Okay, I'm gonna take care of it off camera. Just gonna sand it a little bit over here, and we're gonna repeat. Now I suppose that it will fall in place exactly, yes, as I suspected. Now let's see, what can we do here? What can we do? I don't know if the mistake is mine or if... Oh no, now it starts to look better, okay. Okay. Let me toy with it off camera and I am going to be back, but before I do that, let's see what we have done. So, step number 7 of the instructions, we have completed this one. We have also attached B14 and we have left the rest out of the thing, of the whole thing, mainly because they are tools, etc, etc. You know the drill, guys. I like to paint tools separately. Now, upon step number 8, when we reach that point, we will continue our work onto the upper hole, which means, but let's erase some parts that we are not gonna attach for the moment, like, as I've said, tools, etc, etc. Tracks are not gonna get onto it. And over here we have parts for version number 5 and version number 6, and over here we have parts for different versions. Anyway, they are hooks for, you know, lifting the armor plate that covers the engine. So they are tiny pieces, and I suppose that I am gonna glue every hook that you see off camera, you know, to save you the trouble of watching me struggle with those parts. Okay guys, I have returned for step number 8 of the instructions. I have to warn you that I did some stuff off camera, mainly because I don't want to bore you any further than I usually do. Now you may ask what I did off camera. I attached all the lifting hooks of the engine deck panels, you know, the small hooks that are located over here, 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 6, and another 6 over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what's left? I also attached the antenna over here, and what's left from step number 8 is the engine deck hatch over here and the gun cleaning barrels that are going to be attached over here. Now, the kit gives you some options when it comes to lifting hooks that I am going to discuss later. Now, what I am going to do, I am going to assemble the engine deck, and I have prepared the parts while I was working with the rest of the things, you know, with the rest of the pieces, so we can have this all in one go. Now let me grab my tweezers and my extra thin so we can proceed. Sorry guys for the constant meowing. I have a new cat on the house and he is a needy F, and he always comes when I record. I don't know, maybe he wants to be famous. So engine deck hats consists from these 5 pieces. Now what you need to do, of course, then you will need to attach these 2 vents. That's how I'm gonna call them, air ducts or vents. And those 2 correspond with 2 knobs over here. I suppose that they have 2 holes from the underneath. Okay, one and the other one. And we also need to attach this triangular thingy over here at a square indentation. This triangular thingy is keyed, so you won't be able to attach it in the wrong spot. Yeah, come on. And last but not least, if I'm not gonna kill that cat, is the grab handle. Now, the grab handle has 2 corresponding points over here, exactly where the ends of my tweezers are. So 1, 2, and there we have it. Okay, and while we are at it, let's attach it to the engine deck. It's supposed to go over here, and it drops right in place. Let me apply some glue. So now we are left with the gun cleaning tube, the storage for the gun cleaning rods. So this consists from 3 pieces. Over here at the edges, as you can see, it is keyed, and this key corresponds to the other side of this thing. And easy peasy lemon squeezy, you get the drill, you know what we are supposed to do. We just need to fit this in place. Give me a moment because I need to feel it. And, with the tweezers you don't have this feeling that the part clicked in place, especially if the corresponding point is shallow, if you get my drift. Now this over here, you see those square indentations, those are supposed to correspond up to these points over here of the Panther. So let me apply my glue, get the cat out of the way. My god, he is a persistent little devil. Come on, dude. and I'm gonna screw this. Boom, there we have it. Ready. So, with that done, with those two parts attached, this is what you are supposed to be looking almost upon completion of step number 8, apart from the Pioneer tool, some Pioneer tools I should say. Now let me grab the instructions to explain you a few stuff, to explain you what we done and what we skipped. So, step number 8, as I've said. What you see highlighted, I did off camera. All these are lifting hooks for the engine deck covers. And over here, for example, this one is, another option for a different version of the tank. D44 in this case. Apart from that, I have left off, this tire iron and the tracks and the Pioneer tools over here at this side. And with the things that I have done right now, while I was recording, step number 8 is almost complete. And now we need to move on to step number 9. Now step number 9 is quite a busy step, and I will need to talk about it a little bit further. So I am going to wrap this episode up at this point, mainly because I need to check my options for the engine deck. After all, we are discussing about a hybrid Panther, and I wanna be sure of what I am doing, and also because I believe that I have enough footage as it is right now. Now, before I wrap this episode, I wanna explain a few choices I think that I haven't done up to this point, and you're gonna understand what I am talking about. What I haven't done up to this point, you may ask. Some of you eagle-eyed guys may be able to spot it. As you can probably tell, I haven't glued the rear armor plate, and of course the upper hole. Why I haven't done that? If you take a good look at the tank over here from this side, let's see if I can show you, there is a slight gap either on this side, or if you move the armor plate on that side. Now this can be addressed with clamps, but before I clamp this thing, I wanna be extra sure that everything is in place, which means what my intentions are. My intentions are to finish my job on the upper hull, attach the upper hull to the lower hull while the armor plate is here, and I have made a mess, of course, and I have knocked everything out of its place while I am talking about it. Oh my god. Oh, come on. Help me, will ya cooperate? Where was I? Okay, as I've said, I have to attach the upper hull to the lower hull, Squeeze it a little bit over here, make sure that the upper hole and the lower hole are properly joined so I can properly align the rear armor plate with the hole. That's why I left everything unglued up to this stage, every major panel of the tank unglued. I hope that all this explanation made sense. And with all that said and done, we have made it to the end of this episode, guys. On our next episode, as I've said, we will continue our work on the upper hole, on what is left of the upper hole, and some other stuff as well. Anyway, we're gonna see, you get my drift. I hope that you guys found this video helpful and interesting and stick along for the next one. Before I go, I want to thank each and every one of you guys that watched this video. A special thank you to all my subscribers, old and new ones. You guys are the best and you are the reason I keep doing these videos. Now, for the newcomers out there that encounter one of my videos for the first time, welcome guys. I hope that you like what I do. If so, you all know what to do. Leave a like, comment with your thoughts and opinions, share the video if you believe it deserves to be shared, or even consider subscribing for more builds to come your way. Until the next time, fellow modelers and friends, take care and model on. It was that Mofo Damon signing out.